Hi everybody, this is ANGEO Quinones and you reach IM Ministries. IM Ministries is designed to give you dependable and accurate answers that come straight from God's holy and inspired word, the Bible. And I don't know why it's not counting down, actually. You can't see the countdown, but I can see the countdown, like 3, 2, 1 or whatever the case may be. But I can't see that. I don't know why. Now, let's go to study here Genesis, the book of Genesis. Okay, the book of Genesis. All right. The book of Genesis, chapter 1. Okay, the book of Genesis, chapter 1. Let me get the Old Testament over here. Okay, and I have pain in my arm, but I can tolerate the pain today more than yesterday. I mean, I can't hold it to my face too much, like, apart from my arm, but so I have pain, but it's I can start, studying the Bible again, so that's just it. I hope everybody's doing well, by the way. So this is Genesis chapter 1 and verse 26. Genesis chapter 1 verse 26. Okay, so let's check that out. All right, and I don't know why I did that. I put it verse 26 and I start scrolling backwards. Okay, so anyway, it's around here. Genesis chapter 1 verse 26. This is verse 27, so that's just that deal. Now this has to do with the Trinity, and so that's just the deal. So let's just check it out in the NASB. Then God said, now we're going to look at the Greek Septuagint, we're going to look at the Hebrew, and we looked at it before, but I want to look at it again, okay? Then God said, quote, let us make, Hebrew word asa, poieo in the Greek Septuagint, but a different construction. We're going to look at it, a subjunction, okay? Then God said, quote, let us make mankind, the Hebrew word is Adam, in our image, according, says another translation. This one says, in our likeness. Okay, let's just stop there. Okay, put an ellipsis after that, okay? Let's read this again, this is quite clear. Then God said, quote, let us make mankind, man says another translation, in our image, in our likeness. Anthropos in the Greek Septuagint, Adam in the Hebrew for man, okay? Ish, Adam, those are Hebrew words for a man, okay? It's raining over here in the Philippines. I hope it's not too much. Let's read this again. This is quite clear. Then God said, quote, let us make mankind in our image and our likeness. Okay, so that they may rule, probably subjunctive in Greek, over, okay, the fish in the sea and the fowl. And the birds in the sky, and over the livestock, and all the wild animals, and over all the creeping or the creatures, okay, that move or creep along the ground. Okay. Now I want to look, okay, at the construction. Let's look at the Hebrew, because we already looked at the Greek. So let's look at the Hebrew. Okay? Let's go to this Greek interlinear app. Okay. Let's check it out. Alright, so let's look at I was going to look at the Greek, but let's look at the Hebrew. Okay? Alright, now, let's cancel this over here. Alright, that's just a deal. And let's go to Genesis and look at the Hebrew words. You understand? And let's go to chapter 1 and then verse, let me see over here, verse, verse 26. You know, I'm resting today, but the thing is that, you know, I just don't want to do nothing at all. I'd rather do something. And the productive thing to do while on the bed is to at least study the Bible. I mean, you know. So, all right, Genesis chapter 2, verse 26. It says over here, and said, okay, and said. So what's that? So that's wah, or wah actually. That's a pathach, okay, A class underneath that. Let me enlarge the print a little bit because you're gonna need to look at the diacritics and stuff like that. As you need to follow along with me as I break this down. Okay, praise God, He gets the glory, not me. So let's look at this. Okay, all right. Accessibility. All right, magnification. And let's go to this over here. Okay. All right. Now, and let's do this. All right. So it says over here, and said. Now, let's enlarge this. Poke the bear and enlarge this. Okay. Now the word "and" in Hebrew is the word, okay, wah. Okay, wah. So that's spelled out wow, and then underneath it is like I'm right underneath the word "said." I'm right underneath the D. So that like stick-looking thing with a horn sticking out, that's a W or a V in Hebrew. Okay, a V. Sound depending on the dialect, it could be a V. You could pronounce it a V like in victory, or a W like in wow. In biblical Hebrew, it's really a W. In modern Hebrew, it's really a V. You understand what I'm saying? All right. Now, so since this is biblical Hebrew, and it's the wow, not the vav, basically, let's pronounce it wah. Now, underneath it, you have a minus sign looking thingy, which happens to be an A class, one of 2 A classes in Hebrew. And that's called pathach. Pathach. That's the ass sounding vowel stroke in Hebrew. So just say wah. That's all. Okay? Now, there is no differences between the A sounding vowel strokes in modern Hebrew. Everything is like in father, but there are distinctions in biblical Hebrew. Now after that, you have yod with a doubling dogish, so there's 2 Y's here. You understand what I'm saying? And that goes with the wow, that goes with the and, okay? One of the Y's stays with the upcoming word, okay, Amer, okay? And so you have a Y that doubles because of the dot in the belly of it, and then you have a dot over it, which is an O class, so it's actually a yo. Then you have a silent letter, it looks like an X, but that's the aleph, that's silent. Then you have the half M looking letter, okay, which is an M in Hebrew. It's called mem. As a set of 3 dots underneath it, upside down triangle, that's an E, okay. Now, what happened to everything here? Oh, that's just a text that's coming or something like that. I should have put airplane mode. Upside down triangle set of dots, that's an E class like in the word get, okay. It's very simple. There's another E class. And that's like, it sounds like A like in the word they. But that's not this one. This is like met, set, get, sent, like that. You understand? So you got meh. That's all. Just sound the consonant first if it has a sound, and sound the vowel stroke after that. So you got meh. And then you have a resh, which is an R in Hebrew. It looks like an opposite side looking R, right? And right under the N in and so there you have your whole word. Yomer. Yomer. Okay? Yomer. Wa. Yomer. That means and said. Okay, so in Greek it will be kai, apen. Kai for and then apen for said. Greek Septuagint. And then you have the Hebrew word Elohim. Elohim. Okay? El means God, and then the im sort of thingy, okay, it's making this construction to be plural. You understand what I'm saying? Not in the same context, in the same meaning, but just like the I can make, okay, thea into theoi into the plural, but that's not, that's God stuff, so that's a different thing. But you know what I'm saying? Words in Hebrew and Greek and English and so on can inflect, can either change the way it's behaving in the text or change completely the meaning of the word. Okay? Oh yeah, we have the Aleph, which is actually one of the designations of the Sinaiticus or Sinaiticus or Sinaiticus, okay, base manuscript, a 4th century AD base manuscript, the 300s, okay, a Greek New Testament. That's one of the designations for it. The only Hebrew letter that designates a Greek New Testament manuscript is this letter, Aleph. It's a silent letter, by the way. Now underneath it, you have Hatef Segol. Okay, Hatef is like a half vowel sound. Okay, looks like a Braille C if you know Braille. Vertical set of dots. Okay, vertical, not horizontal, but vertical. Okay, and then that's called Hatef. Now the upside down triangle set of dots, we already saw it in the word for said. Okay, and that's called Segol. And that's an E class like in the word get, like I said before. Upside down set of triangle dots in Hebrew is the E class like in the word get. It's a vowel. All of these dots, dashes, and strokes, except for a few exceptions, are vowel points and vowel strokes. Other things will be, accent markers and all this other stuff and doubling dogishes and hardening dogishes or whatever the case may be. But mainly the things that you see sometimes in a word will be okay, vowel points and dashes. Okay, so that's it. Now the whole syllable has an E and an L sound, L, because L is the shortcut, meaning, grammatically speaking, for God. El means God. Daniel means God is my judge. You understand what I'm saying? So Dan means judge and El means God. So over here is El. That's a shortcut. But this is not the singular. This is Elohim. This is the plural form. Keep that in mind. You understand what I'm saying? By the way, I don't see malach here. I don't see any plurality of majesty. Okay, that's not present in the text. I mean, I don't see the word for king here in the text. Okay, I don't see it. So you got the lamed, which is a very long letter in Hebrew, probably the longest letter in Hebrew, or one of them anyway. And it protrudes over the second Mendoza line, which is the roof Mendoza line. Okay, it's the only Hebrew letter that does this. So if you ever see a letter sticking above the line that it's written in, if you were to write this in a notebook, you will have to write this above the ceiling line, if you will. Okay, the only letter that does that in Hebrew is the lamed, is the L. So you're clear. Whenever you see something like that protruding over the ceiling, if you will. Okay, it's the L. It's the lamed. Lamed, Lamed, something like that. It's the L. But this has an O class next to it. You see the dot next to the Lamed? I'm right underneath, exactly underneath the G. You see that dot underneath the G next to the very long letter Lamed, which I told you is an L? That's an O class. That's Holem. Holem O class. That's an O. It's just a dot, sometimes above to the upper left-hand corner, a Hebrew letter, consonant. You understand what I'm saying? So you're going to see a dot. You just saw a dot that's over the letter, basically. I mean, it's just to the side, but basically that goes over the letter and other letters. And this one is to the side of it. That's an O class. And now you're going to see an H with a dot underneath it, and the dot underneath it is an I class. So, I mean, a dot over a Hebrew consonant, you're most likely looking at a O class. A single dot underneath the letter, you're looking at an I class. So it will be iota in Hebrew, but this is herek. Herek is an I class. It's a single dot underneath the H. But let's get to the H, because it's found twice in the Hebrew word haya, ehyech, the tetragrammaton and stuff like that. It's found one time in the word isha, for a woman and stuff like that. So I mean, it's all over the place. Haya has this, I believe twice. I think I said that, but just in case. So this is the H in Hebrew. Incidentally, in Spanish, when you go to Spain, they actually say it's like a guttural sound. They don't say like ha. They say it's Camilo Sesto, one of my favorite Spanish singers. He pronounces this as like a guttural, like the chet in Hebrew. Actually, they pronounce it like that. Okay? But anyway, coming back to this is Hebrew, so let's speak about this. This is the hey, and this is the H in Hebrew. It means behold, by the way. Okay? Behold. So the meaning of the tetragrammaton, getting into that, means hand behold, nail behold. Okay? So you have an I class underneath that, so it's he. Okay, or here, I mean, but still. And then right after that, you have a yod, a little tiny letter. Okay, Jesus even mentioned this as the smallest of the Hebrew letters. You understand what I'm saying? This is Aramaic script. This is not the Hebrew. I mean, this was baptized as Hebrew letters, but I mean, by the Hebrews. They borrowed this after the Babylonian captivity. Okay, but it's not Hebrew, it's Babylonian script. But anyway, it's known to be Hebrew now, so I mean, that's just it, but it's not Hebrew. This is a yod, and that's a Y in Hebrew. And we saw it in Yomer, and we saw that it was doubled. There's two Y's for Y. Well, let me tell you why. No pun intended. Why? Get it? Okay. All right. Oh, and I have to leave because it's 2% left on the phone. So there's a dot. Now I'm underneath the I and said. There's a dot right in the middle of yod. You see that there? Now if you go to Elohim, the word Elohim, there's no dot there, so the letter doesn't double. Now how do you know that the letter doubles if it has a dot in the middle? Well, there's several other ones, other consonants that are not doubled. They're hardened. So how do you know? Well, I mean, you just taught that there's a handful of letters that double, and a handful of letters that harden, and you just know those letters. Okay, like the mem will double in the word mim menu, and then the nu doubles in the word also. The yod can double, so you have, you know what I'm saying? You have letters that harden, like bet and dalet and things like that, but other letters that harden. Okay, that's just it. Now, since there's 2% left on the phone, it says, and God said, let's go to the let us business. Okay, let us make. Okay, is the Hebrew from the Hebrew word asa, which means to make. Let's look at the lexical form. The lexical form, praise God, is written out ayin, which is peculiar, is silent here. There's a T-looking thingy under the Y-looking letter in Hebrew, and right under the 13 in 6213. And there's a Y-looking letter. That's not a Y. If you're looking at a Y-looking letter, it's not a Y. It's a silent letter called ayin. Okay, now underneath it is what makes the sound. Okay? Now be careful with ayin, because sometimes it does make a sound, but in this situation, it's not. It's a silent letter. That's why it's called peculiar. Okay, there are two so-called silent letters in Hebrew. This is one of them, and the aleph is the other. But aleph is strictly silent. This is not. Sometimes it's silent, sometimes it's not. You understand what I'm saying? T-looking thingy underneath it, it's an A class like in the word father. It's called comets. Comets. Okay? So whenever you're looking at a T-looking thingy underneath a Hebrew consonant, sound it off like the A in the word father. Ah. Okay? So that's what it's making. Ah. Now you have the S in Hebrew. One of the S's in Hebrew, the other one is Samic. This is sin or sin. It's not a sin to call sin. Okay? So be careful with that, because Mr. Spock, Leonard Nimoy from Star Trek, okay, he called shin, shin, and sin. So don't give me this hocus pocus that is strictly called sin, a sin and sheen. Okay, it's not, because he was Hebrew, Leonard Nimoy, and he pronounced it differently than people do sometimes. You understand what I'm saying? So this is a sin or sin. It's a S. And right underneath the 2 in 6213. And then it has the A class again, like in the word father. So far you have sa. The H or the hey is silent, so you still have sa. Okay? Asa. Okay? Asa. Now, the context has na or na ase. Na ase. Na'aseh. What is this? Well, it means us. Let us make. Let us make. That's the construction. But with this, I'll let you go. Now, the textual form has the noon. Okay. You understand what I'm saying? I'm right underneath the E in make. And there's a pathach underneath it. So that's na. And then you have the ayin. I already told you about that. And then hatef pathach. Okay. That's just the deal. And then after that, you have your sin, okay, or sin. And then the accent markers right underneath that consonant with the sego A class, E class, I should say, right? Upside down set of triangle dots, okay? And then you have the hey. So you have na'aseh, which means let us make. So definitely the Trinity, or at least two members of the Trinity are spoken to be present in this text, because there's no number in particular until you get to chapter 18, where you see 3 Shaloshe being recorded. This is Angelo Quinones giving glory to the God of Yisrael. God is not the God of the mut, of the dead, but of the living. And that means that God, okay, when Jesus was here, when he said that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that I am the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But he said that he meant that Abraham and Isaac and Jacob were very much alive at the time that Jesus said those words. Please subscribe to my channel. Please give me a thumbs up. Okay, that's the Greek P or the Hebrew P sometimes. And please leave a comment on the screen. Thank you, guys. Thanks. Okay, I better go.